I will find you again.
Teddy, come outside! It's a beautiful day!
I just about given up on you ever waking up. Sleep well?
I dreamed of Betty. She was in the garden, and she called for me.
How about you, Lissie dearest? Oh, you know me, old fruit, wide awake at first light.
The Fretlands didn't come home, did they?
They did not. There's no sign of anyone. Aside from last night's Mistwalker.
I've been thinking about that. It was dark. Maybe I just saw a shadow.
Chasing a shadow? That's very unlike you, old boy. Usually you scurry off in the opposite direction.
I didn't get a good look. I'm not even sure there was anyone there.
Oh, there must be someone here. And I'm not talking about ghosts. Or goats. What was it you said yesterday? Maybe they're keeping an eye on us from out in the fjord.
I'll take a gander. The Fretlands will be home soon. And Betty's here. I know it. I feel it.
If you say so, teddy bear. Have you had your noodle juice yet?
I'm not rummaging through their cupboards.
You'll be a pill without your tea and toast, old bean. We need to get you sorted.
I'm not hungry. First point on the agenda. Find the natives.
A mission! Hot dog! I'll scout ahead. I'll meet you down by those houses.
Let's uncover your secrets, Graavik. Alice!
I'm by the village houses!
Up here, Teddy. It's such a beautiful day. You could bottle and sell this air in Boston. It's frankly medicinal.
Careful you don't fall.
You suck the fun out of everything, old boy.
We're far from any doctor. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
That's not very likely, is it?
I thought you were scouting ahead.
What do you think I'm doing? Vantage point, like on a pirate ship. I can probably see our house in Hanover from here.
Did you check those buildings?
Knocking on doors isn't a scout's job, old bean.
There must be someone around.
Only one way to find out, old sport. Did you check all the houses?
Hello? Anyone here?
Why, hello, Mr. American. Please come in for a cup of tea and biscuits.
You're not helping. Also, they drink coffee here, not tea.
Savages. No one home?
Anyone home?
Unless they're playing hide and go seek, I I'd say that's a no. There's one more house. Third time's the charm.
Hello? Who's there? Hello? Anyone home? September 21st, 1923. Wie desperate. Lissie, found something here. Escalated from words to stones. Blood has been spilled. The curse haunts us all. There is no hope left in... Gudsforlate. Good. God. Right. In this God-forsaken place. The death of the... Jiminy. Death of the children was the end of Graavik. Whatever remained of our souls departed with them. You should see this, Lissie. The letter just trails off. It was never sent. Did you see this door closing?
It was just the wind, teddy bear. You're as skittish as a pussycat. 3 strikes, you're out.
I don't think anyone's been home for a while. Someone painted the word traitor on one of the doors. And there was a letter. It sounded foreboding.
Still think everyone's out fishing?
Where would Betty go if she was here right now?
I'm sure she'd go for soda pop. Do you think they'll have cola at the general store?
Doubtful.
Boo.
Betty likes exploring new places. She'd have done the same here. And she'd have left some trace of where she'd gone. I just need to put myself in her mind. See this place through her eyes.
Well, it's a bright and beautiful day. And we have nothing better to do.
What on earth are you doing?
Handstands, Teddy! My record is 2 minutes. I'm working on 3. Just go on ahead. I'll catch up.
July 24th. Memorial service. A commemoration of the accident at the mine this past summer. No services after that.
All these graves. What happened?
It's a cemetery.
But look at the soil. These are recent burials.
Why would they board up a church?
To keep the ghosts from escaping?
Lissie,
What does that say?
God is not here.
Well, so much for that. No wedding, no baptism, no funeral.
There must be people somewhere. Where are you going?
For constitutional. To breathe some of this salty sea air. You go on ahead. I'll find you. everyone turned into a pebble. And they can't speak, but they see and feel everything that happens to them.
There's something very wrong with your head.
Wouldn't that just be awful? Why, I'd be a murderer. What's this?
Remnants of the mining operation.
What, mine?
Remember, I told you yesterday. There was a mine here, but it closed down 20 years ago.
I know, Edward. I was just checking for a sense of humor. Still nowhere to be found. Where do these tracks lead?
To the mine. Where else would they go?
I don't know. A castle up in the mountains, where the frost giants live. And this is how they receive their monthly offering of meat from the villagers. Goat, I hope. I don't understand why they just leave this here. Like an altar to adversity. It's creepy.
Rustic superstition? Perhaps they believed they'd attract bad luck if they moved it.
What did they use this for?
Bringing the ore down from the mine before it was loaded onto boats.
So, diamonds? Gold? Or just boring old silver?
Iron ore.
Or what?
Rock, which contains iron
I know.
deposits that...
Okay, Edward.
To Min Om. It's a memorial. 3 men died when the mine collapsed in 1902. Georg Hatlestad, Niels Frambu, Arne Fretland.
See, this is what working a regular job. Did you say Fretland?
The younger brother who was mentioned in the article. He was just 19.
How long had he been working in the mine? That's too young for a dirty job like digging into rock.
We're in the real world, Lissie. Most teeners don't have the luxury to idle away their days with games and witty repartee.
Ouch.
The newspaper said the accident forced the mine to shut down.
What does any of this have to do with us?
I still don't know why Elizabeth came here.
And you think it has something to do with this mine?
Or with what it did to the village. Maybe. No trespassing for traitors.
Cool. Want to jump the gate and explore what's on the other side? What do you say?
The sign says no trespassing for a reason.
Come on! There may be trolls, or at least more houses. Where's your sense of adventure, old sport? Don't you want to see where these tracks go?
They lead to the old mine, and no. I've had enough adventure on this side of the fence. Besides, they wrote no trespassing for a reason.
You're such a terrible bore, Teddy Bear. I'll wager 1,000 clams you'll jump this gate at some point, if you believe Betty's on the other side.
Frederick Fretland. Who are these traitors he refers to?
about we don't go back to Hanover and stay here instead?
And
Frederick, Fretland, and son.
Johann's brother and nephew.
The Fretlands have their fingers in all the pies, including the only store in town.
Also the post office and telegraph. Or maybe something that'll lead us to Betty in there.
Or at least to some canned sardines. We need to get you fed, old bean.
Fretland and Son.
How do you figure?
It's on the sign above the entrance. And on this photograph. Frederick and Simon Fretland. The older gentleman is clearly Mr. Fretland's twin brother.
Twins are confusing. If this was a dime novel, they'd be switching places at some point to confuse the coppers. Damn you, twins!
Simon Fretland. Frederick's son.
And Johann's nephew. See, I'm getting the hang of this. Simon. Simon. That was the name in the burnt book. So Simon is Ruth's older cousin.
Applesauce.
Why lock any doors? I can't imagine they have a problem with punks and hoodlums.
The sign says they're closed, but I thought maybe... They had a memorial service for the accident in the mine. On July 24th, in the village church.
For something that happened 20 years ago?
It still affected their lives. The ferry route is no longer operating.
Rats!
Mrs. Fretland already informed me in her letter.
I know. Still warrants a resounding rats.
I wonder why it stopped running.
Look around. How many people live here? 20? 30? That can't be enough for a ferry route.
Things got quieter after the mine closed down.
They need to move on and find something else to put their village on the map. Tobacco farming, maybe.
They must have been so isolated, with no easy way in or out.
Aren't there boats?
You saw how much work it was to cross the fjord. And if the weather's bad...
Can't be healthy, being so isolated. Cooped up inside, reading the collected works.
Yeah, all right. I get
This
it.
village is basically you, Teddy.
I said, all right. The ferry would have made the trip here much easier.
And you wouldn't have had to pay that farmer a fortune to rent his boat.
I had no choice.
We should keep his boat, if it comes back. Bring it with us to Hanover.
Do what with it exactly?
I don't know. Grow parsley in it? Use it in the pond? Forget it, stupid idea.
The telegraph is out of order.
Well, there goes my plan. NOSOS.
This was 2 years ago, but the notice is still up.
How can it take 2 years to get something like that fixed?
If they couldn't afford it? Or couldn't get anyone to come fix it?
Well, this place really is off the map. Here be dragons. Or Draugans, I guess.
Is that? Lissie, come here. It's Betty's hat. She was here. She could still be in there. Betty? Betty!
Are you sure, Edward? I mean, it's just a hat. Is it even a hat?
I
not
know
sure.
my sister's hat, Lissie. I have to get inside.
What about the breaking and entering part?
I could care less what they call it. Here's an open window.
You seem eager to break the law. I approve.
It won't budge.
Nah, don't be a milquetoast.
Well, it's stuck.
Attaboy, Teddy. You can do this.
I can't believe I'm actually breaking... Whoops, Daisy.
Oh my, Teddy. You're such a sap.
Harden.
Dilettante, world traveler, cat burglar.
A cat burglar would, by definition, enter a building on a higher
Jeez,
floor.
The state of this place.
Oh, Betty,
Edward,
I hope you weren't here when...
is this... blood?
Not necessarily human blood.
Well, that's alright then. What does it say? Barn murder? Someone murdered a barn?
Barn means child. And mortar, that's...
Child murderer. Edward, they murdered a child?
Someone thought so.
Probably the same someone who vandalized the store.
I'm not sure how I feel about being in here.
Don't be ridiculous. We're all alone. What else do you suggest we do?
Damnation. The hat's in here.
Calm down, old boy. Anyway, how's a hat going to help us?
Who knows what else is in here? There could be more clues.
All right. Okay. Everything's Jake. We made it into the store. I'm sure we'll find a way through that door.
It's the same photograph as in the farmhouse.
Johan's gone. At least, I assume he's the one who's been... snip.
Frederick clearly did not want anything to do with his twin brother. Out of order.
Why hasn't it been fixed?
Perhaps there wasn't much demand for it anymore.
S-O-S. Oh boy. If only this thing worked. We could order a boat to come get us. Or, even better, order some hot grub. What are you doing?
Looking for keys.
Your life of crime continues.
There's a note.
Is it written in Viking runes? What does it say?
It's from Simon. Yai put it means I put. Nurkel is key. Casa. I don't know what that word means.
He put the key in the casa?
Casa. I wish I had my dictionary. The note's addressed to his father.
So the key was moved. But where to?
Somewhere safer. Or more convenient.
Can we really trust your translations? You only started studying a month ago.
I spent the summer reading, and I had a lot of free time on the ocean voyage.
Come on, how much could you possibly pick up in a few months?
You know my mind, it's a sponge. These were never sent.
How long have they been piling up?
I received Mrs. Fretland's letter in June, and they received my letter from July.
A couple of months. Perhaps the world forgot about Graavik.
Casa.
So that's what it means. Cash register. You're a genuine gangster now, old fruit. Don't worry. If you get busted, I'll come visit you in the big house. Wasn't there supposed to be a key?
Here it is. It is her hat.
Teddy, I'm not
Betty
sure
was
that's...
here, and not long ago.
Okay, but if that is her hat, what's it doing in a locked storeroom?
Another breadcrumb.
That's not an answer.
I know for sure she was here. That's what matters.
You know best, Edward. So, what now? If this is a breadcrumb, where's the next one?
There must be a reason her hat's in this room.
What's that?
A handwritten note.
I'm not blind. What does it say, you silly goose?
It's hard to read. I'm not sure my translation will be... Johann, you... Nectar. Refuse. You refuse to speak to me, so I write this letter instead. It's from Frederick Fretland to his brother. Simon did not... Bloody hell. Simon did not murder your Ruth. He was fond of his cousin.
Ruth? Ruth is the daughter of Anna and Johann, which means the little girl in the photograph at the farmhouse. Oh, Edward. The Fretland girl was murdered. This is simply awful.
Simon was working at the farm while I tended to the store. I would have seen him had he passed on the way up to the cliffs.
They thought Simon killed Ruth. His own cousin.
Ruth was... what's that word? Playing. Ruth was always playing on the rocks below the church. She must have fallen by accident. The note ends there. Frederick never finished it. And Johann never read it. Not that it would have made a difference. If Johann thought...
The mob showed up for Simon. His father would have tried to protect him.
September 17th. You would have been here, Betty.
Rocks below the church. Isn't the church right above us? Edward, come look at this. That's the cliff. Right there. The one in the note? I bet you 1,000,000 clams.
Where?
See for yourself.
I guess that could be where...
Let's check it out.
No, Lissie, wait.
This way.
I found it, Teddy. The cliff. I'm standing right below it.
What are you doing? This doesn't concern
A
us.
little girl died. We're staying in her home, for God's sake. Are you completely without heart? Get yourself up here, Edward.
Whoops-a-daisy. What is this?
Where little Ruth died.
You're being morbid. And this is a distraction. I'm here for Betty, not because some girl
Edward.
got herself...
You insensitive brute. You're like the Tin Woodman, no heart. You know, you've grown cold and mean in that horrid study of yours, with only books and bugs to keep you company for years and years and years. There are other people in this world, you know. It's not all about you. You're going to do this. If not for Ruth, then for us. We're going to figure out what happened to the poor girl. Together.
That's been here a while.
Didn't you say it happened over a month ago?
You'd think her family would have replaced it with fresh flowers.
Is that blood?
The girl could have hit her head on that rock. There would have been plenty of blood.
That's awful. I think there's something behind it. Can you move the rock aside? It must be Ruth's.
Where's the head?
Maybe the killer also decapitates dolls.
Hold on. This pin. This is old. Very old. Looks like something from the Viking era.
We are in the land of Vikings.
This could be 1,000 years old. It does not belong in a child's doll.
Who cares? Ruth is dead and you're obsessing about a rusty old pin? Let's go further up. Maybe we'll find more clues. Come on, old sport. It's not far.
Can you wait just 1 minute so that I can catch my breath? Huh. Did you follow the same path, Betty? Or am I just stumbling through darkness?
You can see clear beyond the edge of the world.
One
Oh,
second.
Teddy Bear. We need to take you out walking more often.
So, the girl fell from up here.
Was pushed, you mean? Can you see where she fell? Seeing as you're so concerned about me falling out of trees, I wouldn't want to risk falling off a cliff.
Certainly high enough to kill a child.
If I had to go, this would be the way to do it. Soaring through the air like a bird.
And landing like a rock. If she fell headfirst on that rock, she'd have died instantly.
Edward, honestly.
You wanted to learn more. This is you learning more. She hit her head and fell into the bush where I found her doll. Happy now, Alice?
I'm not. What was she doing up here in the first place?
Playing? She was a child. Children play in dangerous places.
There must be more to it. Let's find out where this path leads.
No, absolutely not. I don't have time for this nonsense. We're running out of daylight, and Betty's still... You're still out there. Lissie, slow down. I can't keep up with you. Who knows what's up there? It's not worth the risk of falling and breaking something. Lissie? Are you there?
Teddy,
My word. Look away, Lissie.
is this what happened to the villagers? They killed themselves?
It's one body. Let's not jump to conclusions.
What about those fresh graves at the church? There were at least half a dozen of them. Did everyone just die?
They're not necessarily connected.
Oh, come on. This is just ghastly. What made him do this? How long has he been? What does that say?
God forgive me.
Don't suicides go to hell? Isn't that what your father said when
Stop.
your mother drowned
Don't.
herself? Sorry. Who was he? One of the Fretlanders?
It's not Johann or Frederick. And he's too old to be Simon.
Do you think this has something to do with Ruth? Maybe she came across the hanged man before she died, and it scared her. So she ran, and
This happened later.
there's some consolation in that, I guess. Maybe it's the killer. The guilt ate him up, and he offed himself.
That's just speculation with no basis in fact. There's nothing more to do here. I'm going back. Let the poor soul rest in peace.
Does it look like he's resting in peace? You're just going to leave him hanging? You're an insensitive brute.
I'm here for Betty. It's tragic, but really none of my concern.
Betty, always just Betty. You don't care about anyone else. What if that was me up there? Would you care then? All you do is obsess over a scarf and a hat and ugh.
It's all I have of Betty.
Betty, there she is again. Edward, the hanged man, he's someone. No matter what he did or didn't do, he deserves respect. Would you please just do this one decent deed? If not for me, then for yourself. Or for your Betty. What are you doing? You can't just pull him down by his legs. Try loosening the noose.
I can't reach that far. I'm going to be sick. I can't do this.
Yes, you can. Teddy. Edward. I know you can. You've been through much worse. Where are the Fretlands, Edward?
It's been 2 days. If they're not back tonight...
They're not coming back.
Perhaps they left after their daughter died.
Was murdered, you mean? Isn't that what we think happened?
She was probably murdered.
And you think Simon did it?
Your guess is as good as mine. It could have been an accident.
You're really not helping.
Can we talk about this tomorrow? I'm sorry.
You're exhausted.
I buried a corpse today, Alice.
I know. I'm sorry. Why don't you sleep in the guest bedroom?
The couch is fine. The Fretlands could still come home.
All right. Just don't come crying to me if you wake up with a crick in your neck. I'll be up for a while, if you feel like talking. What did you find?
Someone tried to burn this.
Just like the book. Isn't that odd?
It's addressed to Mrs. Fretland. My dearest Anna. It's from her sister, Margaret. Frederick's wife. The two brothers married sisters, remember?
Yes, and it's adorable. Keep reading.
I really shouldn't.
Really? How else are we going to figure out what happened? Keep reading.
My dearest Anna, I miss you so very, very much. The baby is due soon, and I wish for our family to reunite before... It's been 7 years since the dreadful incident at the mine. Can we not convince Frederick and Johann to forgive and forget? I know there are things Frederick has not told me about what they found and why they parted ways. Their grudge is tearing us all apart. Frederick won't even let me speak to half of our neighbors, accusing them of treason. He's so very angry and full of regrets. It's eating him up. And we...
And we what?
The rest is unreadable.
Margaret reached out to her sister, but I guess it didn't work.
This was written before Simon was born, but burned recently. I really thought I'd find Betty today.
Well, I told you not to get your hopes up, Edward. I mean, we just got here. It's a big place. She could be anywhere.
It's just the thought of her alone out there in the dark.
She's a tough cookie, your Betty. Tougher than you, teddy bear.
That she is. I almost forgot putting this aside when I lit the fire. Wasn't there an inscription inside?
Simon. Simon gave that book to Ruth. But who burned it?
Johann or Anna, if they believed Simon killed her.
But they were friendly, right? Simon and Ruth. Before...
I imagine so. And we know the sisters were close.
I still don't understand why the brothers had a falling out.
Whatever drove a wedge between them, it was big.
Now that we know what happened to Ruth, this empty house is even spookier.
It's a house, nothing more.
You know better than most that souls can linger. Especially if they died
There's
in...
no such thing as a soul.
Life force. Ghost. Whatever. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
The only ghosts are in our minds.
Says you. Do you think Simon killed Ruth?
It's not important what I think.
I don't know what to believe. Sometimes children do monstrous things. It's almost painful to look at this photograph now. Their whole world fell apart. Ugh, I can't bear to think about it.
The two brothers married twin sisters, Anna and Margaret Taylor. That's the Graavik stave church behind them.
All those hopes and dreams, ground to dust by misfortune. The mine must have been a big deal for Graavik.
Graavik. An opportunity to do more than live hand to mouth.
What a blow it must have been to lose it all. It's the same photograph we saw in the store.
Except this one's whole.
So the brother who owns the store
Frederick.
was angry with Johann before Ruth. Because
of the mine. It all comes back to the mine. Johann and Frederick Fretland. Thick as thieves, before things took a turn.
Don't you always say that much of our pain is self-chosen?
I wonder about that. These headlines make more sense now. Johann sells his share, and the cave-in occurs shortly thereafter, killing 3 people.
Including the younger brother.
The investor pulls out, leaving Frederick with the bills.
Oh, I feel awful for everyone. Losing a brother, losing the business.
There were no happy endings here.
What are you doing?
Betty will want these back.
I don't think it's healthy
Not
to...
now, please. I'm exhausted.
Quite the day, huh?
I'm ready to pass out. Where will you sleep?
I'll be up for a while. My mind's simply racing.
Don't stay up late. Wake me if you hear the Fretlands arriving.
Of course. And I'll keep my eyes open for any ghosts that might want to haunt you in your sleep.
There are no...
Hush now. Sleep.